When I think of Eagles backups, three names come to mind: Feely during the 2002 season, Garcia during the 2006 season, and at last Foles during the 2013, 17, and 18 seasons. Garcia going into the 2006 season was the backup to Donovan McNabb, but due to an injury to McNabb in the middle of the season against the Titans, Garcia was thrust back into action. And for a starting role, Garcia played well. He led the Eagles to a 6-2 record, threw 10 touchdowns and over 1,300 yards during that span. He also led the Eagles to the playoffs, going from 5-6 to 10-6. And he finally also beat the Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants twice with the Giants, who he beat in the wild card round of the playoffs. It was a pretty impressive year for Garcia, and I honestly respect the season he ran with that offense, and he played pretty well despite there being multiple injuries and being without star players. Feely going into his second year as an NFL quarterback was the third string behind Donovan McNabb and Cloyd Detmer on the roster. But due to injuries, he got to start a few games. Feely went and started 5 games and led the Eagles to a 4-1 record while throwing 6 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Without Feely stepping up, I feel like the Eagles could have missed the playoffs that year. They would finish the year 12-4, tying a record high in the division and in their franchise's history. They would clinch a second NFC East title behind Feely, which was one of the most improbable runs in their history. Going into the 2013 season, Nick Foles was known as the third-round pick, and he is now the most notable backup quarterback the Eagles have ever had. Foles came into a game after Michael Vick injured his hamstring, and during that game, Foles showed flashes of talent, which gained him the starting job, and Foles threw 7 touchdowns against the Raiders while leading the Eagles to an NFC East division title at 10-6. Foles would also get traded after 2015 due to struggles. He would then be traded to the Rams and come back in 2017 after being cut by the Chiefs, and Carson Wentz would tear his ACL in Week 17. Foles would lead the Eagles to a first seed in the NFL playoffs, but had struggled throughout it, with it mainly being on the back of the running game and the defense. But in the playoffs, Foles really turned it on, with him throwing for 3 touchdowns against the Vikings and a 38-7 obliteration, while also upsetting the Atlanta Falcons 15-10. In the Super Bowl, though, Foles would have his greatest night yet. Foles would throw for 3 touchdowns on the day and looked godlike. He outslung Tom Brady through the air. But despite that, his greatest play didn't come until the end of the second quarter, in which Foles was on a 4th down, went out and committed one of the best plays in Super Bowl history. Foles would trick the Patriots defense and would catch a pass that has gone on to become known as the Philly Special, which is now categorized as one of the best plays in Super Bowl history. Foles would win the Super Bowl MVP, and he would end a 52-year drought for all time in Philadelphia. Foles would once again also get more playing time the following year, but after what 2017 had done, he was known as a Philadelphia legend no matter what happened. In 2018, though, Foles was called on again due to injuries to Carson Wentz, and Foles led the Eagles to 3 straight game wins and a playoff berth, going from 6-7 to a playoff berth. One of the best parts of the season, and it's also one of my most favorite seasons, despite the injuries. And Foles in the wild card would also beat the Bears in a tight game, mainly thanks to Cody Parkey causing the double doink crisis. Foles would then sign a 4-year contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars before getting traded to Chicago for a 4th-round pick. The future of the Eagles' current backup quarterback core would have to be not Nate Sudfeld, but 2nd-round pick Jalen Hurts. Hurts out of Alabama and Oklahoma was a 2nd-round pick, and he was actually a surprise pick for me. But I actually enjoy how many times he's been getting snaps during the games. Hurts is 2 for 2 on passes for 27 yards. Hurts has also 51 yards on the ground in rushing gains. Hurts is like one of the better athletic quarterbacks I think we've had in a while. He's probably like one of the more athletic quarterbacks we've had in our system since like Michael Vick. He's also good at running at the Wildcat because teams can barely predict what he can do. He's gotten some decent gains, like against the Cowboys, they couldn't stop him when he was passing the ball. And against the Steelers, like he's done well in passing. Like he seems poised in the pocket. He seems like a great backup quarterback. He could actually develop into a starter eventually.